Good day, everyone. I am Catherine Bedanya from Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English. And today, I'm going to discuss the later periods of literature, Enlightenment, and Romantic period. So, our objectives would be discuss the definition and characteristics of Enlightenment and Romantic period of literature. Recognize and get familiarized with the famous authors and some notable works during the periods being tackled. Then generate fresh ideas from the discussion that can be used on appreciating and critiquing literary works. The different literary movements and style that arose starting in the 18th century are referred to as the later periods of literature. So we have here first the period of Enlightenment. Enlightenment are often called as neoclassical, and the Age of Reason was a confluence of ideas and activities that took place throughout the 18th century in Western Europe, England, and the American colonies. On this period, people emphasized reason over superstition and science over blind faith. It means that science is more valued than in faith in God, or often we call the era of logic. It is marked by the rise of deism, intellectual backlash against the earlier Puritanism, and the America's revolution against England. Using the power of press, Enlightenment philosophers such as John Locke, Isaac Newton, and Voltaire challenged conventional knowledge and promoted new ideas about openness, investigation, and religious tolerance throughout Europe and America. Many view the Enlightenment to be a watershed moment in Western civilization, with an age of light succeeding an age of darkness. Francis Bacon, also a logician, composed philosophical treatises which would from the basis of the modern scientific method, or an early proponent of state funding for scientific inquiry, and work with the realm of ideas and languages. On the other hand, Isaac Newton found more on observation and testing for determining his theories. His book Principia, completed in 1687, is the foundation of entire science of physics. This mechanistic view of the universe, governed by the set of unchanging laws, raised in the ire of the Church Fathers. However, the mode of inquiry that both Bacon and Isaac Newton pioneered became much more influential than the church teachings. The Enlightenment would be these ideas applied to every segment of life and society, with huge ramifications for citizens and rulers alike. So, Enlightenment period is divided into three, and we have here the first one, often we call Restoration period, from 1660 to 1700, Common Era. So after a protracted period of Puritan, this historical period marks the British king's return to the throne. One of its characteristics is the prevalence of French and classical influences in poetry and drama. Writers use satire to address corruption, hypocrisy, and social mores. A hallmark of the period was the emphasis of wit, clever dialogue, and humor. Restoration comedies, in particular, are known for their sharp, often broady humor and intricate plots. The reopening of theaters after the puritanical closure during the interregnum led to a resurgence of dramatic works. Both comedies and tragedies were popular, with an emphasis on elaborate staging and witty dialogue. Literature often depicted the manners and behaviors of the upper classes, especially in urban settings like London. Then this includes a focus on fashion, flirtation, and the pursuit of pleasure. So we have here some famous authors and their literary works during the Restoration period. So first on the list, we have John Bunyan, an English preacher and writer, noted particularly for his allegory, The Pilgrim's Progress. Then we have here William Congreve. He is a prominent playwright and poet during the Restoration Age in England, known for his comedies of manners such as The Way of the World and Love for Love. His works are characterized by wit, satire, and sharp observation of society, typical of the Restoration's era literary style. Then we have here John Dryden, or popularly the father of literary criticism. So, he is an English poet and dramatist. He is noted for his satirical verse and for his use of heroic couplet. Notable examples of his satiric style are Mock No and The Medal. His famous poem, Absalom and Architophel, contains several brilliant satiric portraits. So we have here John Evelyn. So he is famous for his diaries, which provide a detailed and insightful chronicle for his life and the events of his time, including the Restoration period. His diaries are more valuable historical resource, offering first-hand accounts of major events, daily life, and the political and social atmosphere of 17th century England. Then we have John Locke. He is an English philosopher and political theorist that began the empiricist tradition and thus initiated the greatest age of British philosophy. He attempted to center philosophy on an analysis of the extent and capabilities of the human mind. His major works include True Treatises and the essay concerning human understanding. Then last on the list, we have Samuel Pepys. He is an English diarist and naval administrator. His diary, which covers the period 1660 to 1669, is a vivid account of London life through such disasters as the Great Plague, the Fire of London, and the intrusion of the Dutch fleet up the Thames. So, we will proceed to the next period, which is the Augustan Age, about 1700 to 1750 Common Era. So, English writers and poets during this time were renowned to emulate Virgil and Horace's literary works in English letters. It is because they were seen as the pinnacle of Roman literature, embodying the ideas of order, clarity, and patriotism that the Augustan era sought to promote, which aligned perfectly with the desire to establish a stable and glorious new era under Emperor Augustus. Essentially, their works provided a model for achieving literary excellence with reflecting the political and social aspiration of the time. Literature on this period often imitated the styles and the themes of classical Greek and Roman authors. This included the use of classical forms such as the epic, satire, and ode. Satire was a prominent genre used to criticize society, politics, and human follies. Writers used wit and irony to expose the shortcomings of the society. The heroic couplet continued to be a dominant poetic form, celebrated for its precision and balance. So, they are the list is the famous authors and their notable works during the Augustan period. So first on the list is we have Joseph Addison and Richard Steele. So they are co-founders of the Spectator and the Tatler, influential periodicals that shape public opinion and literary taste. Then next one is Henry Fielding. He is an English novelist and dramatist, noted particularly for his picaresque novel Tom Jones and for Joseph Andrews, which starts as a parody of Richardson's Pamela. Also noted as an Enlightenment magistrate and the founder of the Bow Street Runners. Then we have here Daniel Defoe. He is known primarily as a journalist, pamphleteer, and social commentator for the merchant class. Defoe wrote hundreds of essays on diverse topics, including religion, politics, history, trade, crime, and marriage. His importance of the history of English literature is signified by his title, Father of the English Novel. His novels Small Flanders and Robinson's Crusoe are still studied and enjoyed up to this day. So we have here Alexander Pope. He is an English poet regarded as the most brilliant satirist of the Augustan period. Key words include The Rape of the Lock, The Dunciad, and the Essay on Men. So we have here Samuel Richardson. He is an English writer whose epistolary novels include Pamela, often considered as the first modern English novel, and Clarissa Harlowe. So it is not on the list, but I will just add another author, which is Jonathan Swift, which is a master satirist best known for Gulliver's Travels, A Modest Proposal, and The Battle of the Books. So we're down to the last period under the Enlightenment. So we have here the age of Johnson's from 1750 to 1790. So Samuel Johnson period marks the transition from the Augustan to the Romantic period of British literature. This era is characterized by a blend of neoclassical values and emerging romantic sensibilities. Literature from this period exhibits a shift from the structured, formal qualities of neoclassicism to the more expressive and emotional tendencies that would define Romanticism. Writers often engage in moral and philosophical reflection, emphasizing human nature, ethics, and personal conduct. The novel became an increasingly prominent literary form, with a focus on realism, character development, and social commentary. There was a growing fascination with the Gothic, the supernatural, and the sublime, reflecting a turn towards more emotional and dramatic subject matter. This period shows significant investment in biographical and critical writing with an emphasis on detailed, comprehensive analysis of literary figures and their works. This period saw comprehensive analysis of literary figures and their works. So we have here famous authors and their notable works. It is during the Johnson's age. So we have here James Boswell. So he became famous for his biography, The Life of Samuel Johnson, which provide valuable insights into Johnson's life and times. So we have here Edmund Burke, who is known for his political philosophy and influential works such as Reflection on the Revolution in France. So we have Fanny Burney. He's an author of novels like Evelina and Cecilia, known for his keen social observation. So we have here Oliver Goldsmith. During his short but remarkable literary career, only 15 years, Oliver Goldsmith wrote individual essays, as should the letter essays, series, biographies, poems, a novel, and a play, every literary genre practiced in mid-18th century England, noted for his novel The Vicar of the Wakefield and plays like She Stoops to Conquer. So last, we have Samuel Johnson, who is known for his literary criticism, biographical works, and a compilation of the influential dictionary of the English literature. So we are now down to discussing the Enlightenment period. So on the next video, we will going to discuss the Romantic period and some notable authors and literary works during that time. So stay up tuned.